Hey there everybody, what's going on? This is TwoHeadedFlounder. Welcome back to some more TCGO. Today we're going to be taking a look at another budget-friendly option, of course, this time around being Vespiquen Flareon. Now, both of these cards have had some moderate to very good success in the past, being able to win tournaments and do very well. I think Flareon's a great card, but infinitely Vespiquen is the superior option. Has 10 HP less, but it has free retreat. And it's had a lot more support over the years than something like Flareon. With all that being said, though, there are a few things I want to get out of the way. Things I am going to do when we do a budget-friendly option for the expanded format. I am going to be including an A-Spec in every deck because I feel like an A-Spec is just something you should be including in every single deck in expanded. They're powerful one-off item cards. You can only play one of in your deck. And I'm not going to go crazy. We're not playing Dowsing Machine or Computer Search. That would be our whole budget for the deck. However, but something like Life Dew, Gold Potion, anything that might actually be useful and can be useful will be put into the deck. I also want to include very good cards that do fit into decks. For example, here we have Ditto Prism. Though this is like a $4 to $5 card, it goes very well with this deck, allowing us to evolve one of our Pokemon and then discarding the other one for the extra damage, because of course we do damage based on our discard pile with this deck. And something else I want to mention before we get into the way, Choice Band, infinitely better in this deck, infinitely 100% of the time. Muscle Band though is more budget friendly, and the cap that we are allowed to spend on this is $30. And this deck, as you will see here, is $29.98. So we're really at that threshold, and I would love to put choice bands in. Even doing some other math, it's still pretty expensive, and then I got to fill in the rest of the deck, and then I got to worry about how much the extra cards would cost. So this is not probably the optimal build for this deck. This is a very budget-friendly version of the deck. But I took a lot of things into considerations just in general from other decks, and I think this is pretty decent. So let's get into the lineup. Of course, we're playing a 4-4 line of Vespiquen and Combee. Intelligence Gathering is a really cool backup attack that we might have to use somewhere down the road, maybe early on in the game, or maybe we can pick up a KO with this and get the extra benefit of drawing cards. But yes, this is a very, very solid attack that can help us out if need be. Other than that, though, we're probably never going to want to use it. So it goes from being a solid attack to a not very good attack in most situations. Be Revenge, of course, this is the whole idea of the deck. Be Revenge and Vengeance both doing 20 plus 10 for each Pokemon in the discard pile. But Vespiquen is our main attacker in this deck because of the free retreat. We're playing 4 Combee. It doesn't necessarily matter what Combee you play as long as it's the one with 40 HP. They are 100% exactly the same. This one does damage and this one searches out Combees. But again, we don't have Grass Energy, so it doesn't matter. Just avoid the 30 HP one because then that gets really into dangerous territory for sniping. We're playing a 4-4 line of Flareon. I don't think that a 4-4 line of Flareon is the most optimal thing. I think maybe a 2-2, 3-3, probably a little bit better. But again, this is budget friendly, and just maxing out on them is pretty good. And having more Pokemon in the deck really can't hurt. Same thing, we just want to put Pokemon into the discard pile to do more. But we're actually playing this Eevee. This is Palette of Friends. So this attack does 10 damage times the amount of different Pokemon on your bench. We're playing a lot of different types in this deck. So if we have 5 different types on the bench, being Normal, Fire, Psychic, Fairy, Fighting, Grass, Electric, we're going to cap out. It's not a whole lot of damage, but if it's just an attack that we can go ahead and do, and manage to get a knockout with it for a double colorless, a single energy attachment, it's a useful backup attacker if need be. Of course, we're playing 1 copy of Ditto. The idea here is to evolve into Vespiquen or Kirlia, Zebstrika, whatever we might possibly need, and just being able to discard the other one that we no longer need to get the additional benefit of the extra 10 damage in our discard pile. It works out very well in this deck. We're playing a copy of Mr.Mime because Bench Barrier, and specifically the Psychic one is more expensive, but the Fairy one is a cheaper option. Same exact card, but this is just weak to Steel, which is pretty okay with me. Prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks. So this doesn't stop something like the Decidueye from sniping you, or just Crobats and stuff coming down, but yeah. It's super solid for this deck regardless. Playing a 1/1 line as Zebstrika because the sprint ability is super useful here. Once during your turn, you may discard your hand and draw 4 cards. If our opponent happens to play Karen on this, they'll be able to shuffle all of our Pokemon back into our deck, which means we're really going to lose out on a lot of damage, which is of course not very good. But Zebstrika kind of just goes, okay, well, I can just kind of get rid of all those Pokemon again, so it's not really that big of a deal. We're playing this copy of Blitzel because it has 70 HP, but also the attack Smash Kick is for a colorless energy. And I know it seems like not a whole lot, but if we, with a Muscle Band on this, attack and do 30 through something that's weak to Lightning, it hits for 60, and maybe that is the difference between a knockout and not a knockout. But it's just there just on the off chance we can ever use it to attack. 4 copies of Unknown because this is an auto include in any deck that you really need to discard Pokemon to do damage. It gives us a great ability of just drawing cards while discarding Pokemon. And of course, we're playing a 1/1 line, 1/1 line of Gallade. This is a very fantastic card, especially for dealing with something like Zoroark GX. Premonition has a very strong ability. Once during your turn, you may rearrange the top 5 cards of your deck. And Sensitive Blade, it does 60 plus 70 if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn. So of course, that's going to allow us to one-shot anything that is pretty much weak to fighting. So we're going to easily be able to deal with something like Zoroark or Snorlax Eevee. We're playing the Psychic Kirlia because Quick Turn is an attack we do for double colorless if need be, and we're playing the Psychic type Ralts because Smack is something, again, for double colorless we can use to do some damage to anything that might be weak to Psychic. And that's the Pokemon lineup. And we have 27 Pokemon in this deck, and I know it looks like a lot, but you really need to run pretty much close to this number for a deck like this to function properly. We're playing 4 copies of Battle Compressor. This is very important for getting Pokemon into the discard pile, but it could also be very useful turn 1 if we don't have a supporter in hand, but we have Vespiquen and Battle Compressor. We can get rid of 2 Pokemon we don't need, put a supporter in the discard pile, Vespiquen for the supporter, use it. Very good for consistency purposes. Playing 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. I know it's odd to take Pokemon out of the discard pile, but of course we're going to need to grab some of the ones that we lose so that we can attack with them again. Revitalizer used to be very good for something like Vespiquen, but we also have Flareon in the deck, so I really don't want to go with just the Revitalizer. I'd rather be able to grab other pieces to the puzzle that we might need, like Zebstrika or Gallade or whatever we may need. Playing 2 copies of Special Charge because all we play in this deck is 4 double colorless energy, so getting that back is very, very important. Playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball because not only is it the best Pokeball in the game, but it lets you discard 2 Pokemon in your hand, and that's really super good for this deck. 4 copies of Vespiquen just for consistency purposes. It's going to help us out a lot. We're going to want to reuse powerful supporters such as Teammates and Lysander a lot, and if we're in a bad situation, just constantly ending our opponent into a low hand size. We're playing 1 copy of Colress because sometimes you really want to play Colress, so that way you have a better chance of drawing into maybe the double colorless in the Pokemon, but it's just a good card to play a one-off in any expanded deck in general. Playing 2 copies of Lysander again, Guzma might be better, but this is a more budget-friendly option, and I think with Fairy Tree and Vespiquen, you're kind of a-okay anyways. Playing a copy of N because N's not the most important card in this deck. Actually, Juniper is, but N is still very useful for dealing with bad situations and losing games. Or games that you're currently losing, but trying to make a recovery from. That's how I should have put it. 3 copies of Professor Juniper. This is probably the most important supporter in the deck next to Teammates. Teammates is very good, but this is going to allow you to just discard a whole bunch of Pokemon that you don't need and draw a new hand, and that's usually really, really good. Teammates, whenever one of our Pokemon is knocked out, we'll be able to use this and go ahead and search our deck for 2 cards and put them into our hand. So that could be grabbing the double colorless and a Vespiquen to evolve our Combee and attack for the turn. It could be grabbing a supporter for the next turn and or a muscle band, anything that we might need. Life Dew. So as far as supporters, ace specs go, I think for this deck, Life Dew just fits the mold perfectly, because once you attach this to a Pokemon and that Pokemon's knocked out, your opponent takes 1 less prize card for attacking, and they want to be knocking us out. If they have to have a 7 prize game, that's better for us. And not to mention, this is essentially a free 150 damage, and then we set up another guy, attack. So I think that this card is super valuable for this deck. Would rather use computer search 100% of the time, probably. Yeah, Life Dew is pretty solid. Playing 4 copies of Muscle Man because we want to cap out on as much damage as possible. So playing as many of these as possible is ideal. Again, Muscle Man is better. Choice Band is better than Muscle Band. So play Choice Band. But again, we got to keep this under 30 bucks. And 4 copies of double colorless energy because it's really all our Pokemons that do attack in this deck use it. So with all that being said, let's go get a game or 2 with this and see how well it can function. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is the greatest build of Vespiquen Flareon, but I did look at some stuff. There's a lot of different things. I really like the idea of playing Execute in this deck with Propagation. However, that card is very, very expensive at the moment for some reason. Like, I get it. It's an old card. It's super good and super playable and expanded, especially with Zoroark. But $7 for a common card, or an uncommon. I think it's common, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So probably going to want to lead off with Eevee here because it has a better chance of surviving a hit. This is expanded, but still Vespiquen at 40 HP, Combee at 40 HP, not really the best. Not really sure what our opponent's playing because there was a whole lot of typing in that, but I think we're going to hold on to the unknown in hand for now, just in case. We're going first. What am I talking about? I was thinking just in case like our opponent wanted to do something crazy. So they're actually leading off with Lele, so that's kind of okay for us. That's a good situation to be in. I think I'm going to go ahead and attach to Combee here. I am going to put the unknown onto the bench, and I am actually going to go ahead and choose unknown really quick right here to draw and see what we get, because maybe I can actually use this supercharge. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Flareon and the double colorless here, and I'm going to go ahead and see what we have first. I don't know if our opponent is playing anything that snipes yet, so Mr.Mime is probably not the best option. But Ralts might not be a bad option because drawing into those cards are going to be very essential. But I really would like to grab Blitzel for Substrika, but I think the middle ground here is to grab Ditto because Ditto can become any of those guys, and it's just better that way. So we're going to go ahead and use Special Charge so we don't waste it, and I think that was definitely the optimal way to play around that there. So 2 Pokemon in the discard pile so far. We did get a Blitzel, so that's very nice. We're going to throw down the Unknown. Don't really want to fill up our bench. We can easily unfill our bench, but I'm going to go ahead and play the Battle Compressor here. I think it's very unlikely that we are going to need probably these. So I'll leave 1 Flareon in the deck, but I don't really think we need too much of those guys, and we want to draw into Unknown so we can use his ability, unless of course we have no bench space. So something I could do is continue this turn. I could Ultra Ball the Combee and the Muscle Band here for another Unknown, and I could use 2 Unknowns to farewell what letter some more cards in my hand. Or I could grab something. I'm going to leave it at this. I think that was an okay turn 1. I maybe probably should have Farewell Letter just on the off chance our opponent wanted to try and pull up the unknown. But I don't think we got to worry. Maybe they will pull it up. They will pull it up. So, again, I should have Farewell Lettered, but I chose not to. So that kind of stinks. We're going to see Hypnotoxic Laser come down, and we are asleep, so fantastic. And we did not wake up, so kind of a bad situation I put myself in, but it happens. Not the best play in the world, but we're going to go ahead and Ultra Ball these guys, get rid of them. I am going to go ahead and grab an unknown because I think we should be fine. I'm going to put that on our bench. I'm going to put that onto our Combee. I'm going to go ahead and sprint for 4 new cards. I don't... If we're going to discard it anyways, I'm going to go ahead and grab a Flareon just to evolve into here. Just on the off chance we can have another backup attacker. And I will go ahead and put the muscle band down on that. And I will attach a double colorless. I'm going to go ahead and Juniper here because we have really not anything else to do. Why don't we evolve this into Curlia so maybe we can get that Gallade into play. But now I think we're going to go ahead, get rid of Mr.Mime and probably the Ralts just to try and max out on damage here. Let's go ahead and Farewell Letter. We have a Vespiquen to evolve into, very nice. Gonna go ahead and put another unknown onto the bench and Farewell Letter again, just to try and get as much damage as possible for the next turn. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pass. Hopefully our opponent just doesn't play another Pokemon, and that way I can go ahead and double colorless retreat if he doesn't knock us out here. We're actually going to see a Grimer come down. So Grimer is a pretty cool Pokemon, and especially with Hypnotoxic Laser. So we're going to see a Lysander here, and our opponent is probably going to pull up the Vespiquen. Or no, or maybe the no, maybe Vespiquen. Okay, we will live. So not entirely sure why they would pull it up, and if they didn't have like Hypnotoxic Laser to ensure the knockout. But let's go ahead and count the Pokemon in our discard pile. So that's 6, 8, 10, 11. Our opponent's actually going to scoop. They had a really rocky start. I did misplay by leaving the unknown there because anything else would have been fine. I mean, I guess them bringing up Substrika could have hurt us a little bit, but we would have just been in that same situation. Everything else would have been fine, though. So let's go ahead and get another game with this. So, as you can see, as long as our opponent isn't playing too much, we pretty much have a guaranteed win. But yeah, now this one is 100% more competitive than our Butterfree Miltank one was. If you hadn't watched the Butterfree Miltank one, I would recommend going to watch it. We had a very, very close game against the Pikarom deck. I'm not going to spoil who won if you didn't watch it, but it was an insanely close and fun battle. So our opening hand here isn't too good. We are going first. I think this time I'm going to actually lead off with a Combee, just on the off chance I can evolve into Vespiquen. We get free retreat. But I'm really hoping to draw into something useful. Oh, thank God. So why don't we go ahead and attach that to the bench Combee. We're going to lose both our Lysanders, so we're going to have to rely on Vespiquen at this point in time. But, ooh, that would have been a pretty bad situation. So we're going to see a Marini here. So I'm maybe expecting a Toxapex deck. I'm not entirely sure. But why don't we go ahead and get rid of both of those Eevees. And We'll grab an unknown. I'm going to leave it on the bench for the next turn. I know we had some pretty bad situations last turn, but we'll be able to evolve next turn for a couple of these Pokemon, so it's fine. We'll be able to get a couple Pokemon into the discard. We already have 3, so we're already at 60 damage, so if we wanted to send up or evolve the active attach, we would be able to knock out Marini with 1 hit, which is very nice. We can take a prize. Alright, see what we got. We got a Poipole, a Gengar Mimikyu GX, and another Poipole. And they actually missed the Max Elixir there, which is very good for us. They're going to Professor's Letter. I have to assume probably attached to Gengar Mimikyu here because it's probably their best attacker. No, they're actually going to go ahead and do it with Marini. And I guess maybe try and poison us. Not entirely sure how this one's going to go out. They had 1 heads on Timer Ball. We're going to see Naganadel come out. It could be useful. I guess maybe with Energy Switch for Gengar Mimikyu. Not entirely sure. But we did get poisoned, so don't definitely have to evolve this one to prevent the damage. Alright, so let's see. We are going to go ahead and Colress because it's going to give us the most cards here. And of course we can go ahead and just thoroughly just discard more Pokemon and draw more cards. So let's go ahead and Farewell Letter here. See what we can grab. We're going to grab a Battle Compressor. I'm actually going to go ahead and use it because I want to remove some cards that we're probably not going to need. So Mr.Mime probably not so good in this matchup. We can still get Ugolade into play, so I don't really want to get rid of the Curlia. I'm probably going to go ahead and get rid of 1 Vespiquen now, if I had to guess. Getting teammates in the discard pile might be a good option too. So let's go ahead and evolve this into Flareon because I at least want that. But let's go ahead and Ultra Ball. Alright, let's go ahead and Farewell Letter once. See what we can draw into. An N. I would really like to keep some of these guys, but let's get rid of the Curlia and Ultra Ball. I'm going to go ahead and grab another unknown because I want to try and really dig for a double colorless energy here if possible. So let's go ahead and Farewell Letter once more. And we didn't hit it, and we'll do it one more time in hopes of hitting a double colorless energy, which we did. Alright, awesome. So evolving into Flareon. I think either way our Pokemon's going to get knocked out, so we'll leave Vespiquen up. I'm going to put a Ralts on the bench because I don't know if I want to get a Golade into play this game. Might not be the best idea. I was really thinking for the ability, but maybe not the best idea. So let's go ahead and put that on the Flareon. We have a lot of Pokemon in the discard pile. I'm not really concerned about that. So yeah, let's go ahead and be Revenge. So we're going to get a knockout. We're doing 130 at the moment. If Vespiquen does get knocked out here, which I think it probably will, we're going to be doing 150. And then if we get rid of the Pokemon in our hand right now, that would be 170, 190 with a Muscle Band. So we still have a ways to go to try and one-shot a Gengar Mimikyu. But I have to imagine that Gengar is getting an attack off this turn with maybe... okay, no, we're going to see Team Flare Grunt come down. I was honestly thinking... I mean, I know Horror House GX would, lock our hand. We can't play cards from our hand. But I was really expecting to see Energy Switch and then something. So, we're not going to be able to play any cards from our hand this turn. And we can't attack. So, that's kind of a bummer. But again, I kind of expected Vespiquen to die regardless, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. And yeah, we'll be able to special charge next turn if we really want to. I was kind of expecting to just drop my hand in general, but I'm not sure. So we're going to see a Steven. Steven will grab them a supporter and an energy. And they can't use that supporter this turn, but they can power up the Gengar to get a knockout here if they want to, which they probably do. And they can't really use Naganadel to attack us. So, again, we are at 150 damage now, 170 with a Muscle Band. So, let's go ahead and send up the Flareon and see what we can do. So, attach the double colorless. I think we are going to go ahead and special charge here, just because I think I'm going to dump my hand with a Juniper. Yes, we did have a Juniper. So let's go ahead and do that so we can try and get some more damage out of this, but also because don't really see any of this being too useful. So let's go ahead and do that. And is in the discard pile now, so that's kind of good. We're going to put a Blitzel down. We're going to go ahead and put the Ditto Prism down. Really would have liked maybe less items in trainer cards in my hand. I can't really do anything. I can be a Seeker for a trainer card, but that still allows Gengar to attack. So we'll leave the Muscle Band in there for now, but we will go ahead and Vengeance for 190, which is pretty good. So if they do decide that they're going to want to retreat Gengar here, we will be able to, via Seeker Lysander, pull it up, take 3 prizes. That means we have 2 more prizes to take, and knocking out Naganadels is not a problem for us. So that's perfectly fine. They have to knock out a lot of Pokemon, but we only have to really knock out a couple of theirs. And them actually going ahead and benching the Naganadel GX there is actually very, very good for us. So that means we can actually probably just take this game in a couple turns. So we have to draw pretty well, of course, because we are going to need double colorless energy. All of it should be in there. I wasn't really paying too much attention for the double colorlesses, but we still have 2 rescue stretchers to work with and plenty of Pokemon to choose from and use. And yeah, I mean, we don't have unknowns or anything, but it's not that big of a deal. So they're actually leave Gengar up there, which I'm actually a little surprised about. So we will go ahead. I'm worried about maybe Naganadel. I'm not gonna lie. I think I want to knock out Naganadel, but I really can't here at all. Like, not doable. And we have to keep those VS Seekers. So I'm actually gonna have to Colress or N. Don't know if N is really that good for us. Well, I guess it would be exactly the same. I was hoping that Colress would have been a little bit more. So I think we have to N, unfortunately. Which leaves me the question of putting Muscle Band down or not. I think we do. But let's go ahead and hit the N and try and get the double colorless. Thankfully, we did get one. I would have been very, very angry if we didn't. We have a very low deck right now. Like, if we missed, that would be pretty bad. So let's actually go ahead and put teammates in the discard. Let's go ahead and get rid of Curlia and the Battle Compressor. And yeah, I think everything else is a-okay to leave in the deck. So yeah, we have all of our double colorless. So again, missing that would have been really bad. Evolve Ditto into Vespiquen. It's very important at this moment. And we will go ahead and attach and be revenge. I would have liked to have Intelligence Gathered, but it just wouldn't have done enough damage. But it would have been nice to be able to. And we're going to grab an Ultra Ball and some extra Pokemon. So, there you go. However, I am very worried about Naganadel bringing us up a prize card. Because as we are right now, we have the game. But I really don't want to have to see. Well, I guess they attached to that one, so I don't necessarily know what's going on. They might just be passing here. Maybe. Really don't know what's going on, though. They're grabbing a lot of big basics, though. This is a very big basic deck. And I have yet to see a copy of... Well, we're confused. But we have Fruit Tree, so that's not really a big option, big deal. I'm surprised that we haven't seen where was I going with this? An energy switch, and actually just feeding me Lele is better for me. Alright, well, I guess you're getting a knockout, so there is that. But I very easily knock out Lele for game. So, oops. So I guess we just go ahead and do this. Put both of those back in there. No way we miss now. We Ultra Ball and get rid of these guys just because. We'll grab a Combee. Put Combee on the bench. We will evolve into Zebstrika. Not that we're gonna need it, but who knows? Maybe somehow we whiff 4 energy. We get 3. What do you know? Let's go ahead and just put everything into play, because why not? And that is going to be game. So yeah, you can see, I mean, look, now we're doing enough to knock out a Gengar Mimikyu with 1 hit. Yeah, this is of course just one of those decks that is very, very good. 800 damage VIP. I would think so. Yeah, pretty good, Vespiquen. Let's go ahead and get one more final game. And yeah, so Butterfree Miltank was supposed to be a more beginner-friendly structure deck, kind of like a structured deck you would buy, but actually, you know, better than those ones. I know that structure decks actually come with really good cards. Like I use this example a lot, but the Charizard and the Blastoise one, at least they come with some stuff, you know. But there's not a whole lot to work with. They're very inconsistent. Well, I think I did a pretty good job at showing Butterfree Miltank can be consistent and work. So this is the 3rd time we're going first, which is pretty impressive in my books. So we're in a very weird situation. Also, I don't know what's going on here. We have a Mimikyu GX, a Swablu, which I'm assuming is turning into Altaria for the extra damage for Dragon types, and then we have Vulpix. So we got a whole bunch of random stuff going on here, but I don't know what I want to do here. I would love to keep the Muscle Bands, but I want to Ultra Ball. Ultra Balling, I would probably have to assume that I grab Unknown, but I don't really know what to Ultra Ball because I would like to keep the Vespiquen, obviously. But we're in a really weird state. I don't know what to do. So we're going to see that Blissel is prized, so probably evolving Ditto, which is also prized. Might be the ideal. We have all 4 unknown. We have 1 prized Combee. We have the entire Glade line again. 1 prized Eevee. So pretty much all of our prizes are Pokemon, which is pretty funny. And 1 Lysander, I guess. Unless Lysander... No, we don't have Lysander. So we know all our prizes. And a Vespiquen. I don't know what to grab. I think maybe I grab Combee. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the unknown. And I'm going to try my best to try and draw into something at the very least. So we're going to farewell letter for 1 before we decide to do anything else, because maybe I can Ultra Ball something else. I guess Ultra Balling and Ultra Ball is maybe a little bit better. I don't think we're necessarily in fear of being knocked out, but I really don't feel comfortable with leaving Combee up there by himself. And I really don't want to discard the double colorless, and I really don't want to discard the teammates without a VS Seeker in hand. So I am actually going to go ahead and Ultra Ball these two, even though I really don't want to. I'm going to go ahead and grab another unknown, and do we use it? Do we not use it? I really don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say we use it just on the off chance we can grab a supporter. It would be super good to get a supporter right about now. So we're not going to go ahead and put the double colorless down, though it could be useful because, again, I don't really want to be knocked out here. So this is what we wanted. This is just a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and put these guys down, and we will pass. So Lysander, this is the only one in our deck at the moment because one of them is prized. But we can easily Ultra Ball that, and whatever we draw into, if it's not too useful, we can always Ultra Ball the Vespiquen as well. And depending on what our top deck is, hopefully it's a supporter, do some stuff. So Vulpix will be able to grab some stuff, but I don't know what's going on at all here. So we see an Oranguru come down and a Latios Prism, sorry. The deck does 50 damage for each of your evolution dragons in play. So I guess trying to do this with Altaria, but I don't get the Mimikyu GX. This is the second time we've seen someone play Max Elixir and whiff, so I'm okay with that. And I don't know what's going on. Play all the cards. Play literally all the cards. Alright, so we're still awake, which is fine. A lot of Hypnotoxic Lasers, though. This is the third game in a row someone's playing Hypnotoxic Laser on us. Kind of weird. And we're going to see the Instruct for 3, and then a Beacon to follow it up to grab 2 Pokemon. I'm very curious to see what they're going to grab. I'm assuming an Altaria. I think the idea of Latios, Altaria is pretty good, but we're going to see a Swablu and a Lele come down. Okay, so very weird, very weird. Alright, so we have a Vespiquen. And we'll evolve into it because we don't want to cure ourselves of our poison. They don't have no energy in play anyways, so this is fine. And I guess, again, we're just going to grab an unknown to Farewell Letter because we kind of need to draw into cards. This has been a very rocky start for us. Thankfully, we didn't manage to get that end, but we haven't really gotten much else. And we can evolve into Flareon for backup. I think I'm going to... on the off chance we can get a double colorless energy, Vespiquen is probably better to leave up front because of its intelligence gathering attack. Well, Flareon would be doing like 60 damage. Well, 100 damage, but still. I'd rather just draw 6 cards at this point in time than that. So we're actually going to see Altaria GX come down. Okay, so I get the fairy energies. Once during your turn, next turn prevent all damage done to this by GX and EX Pokemon. This attack's damage isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's active. Your opponent's active is now asleep. Heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. Alright, so we're pretty much going to have to get one-shots here, which should be easy for the rest of the deck. Altaria we're going to have to put a little bit more effort into. And it's the only Pokemon that has energy, which is a fairy. It's anything. But yeah, the Rainbow is actually softening it up very nicely for us. So we're going to see a Rescue Stretcher here. And this is when we have one of those very awkward plays of grabbing Unknown and Farewell Lettering for 1 because we really need to draw cards. So, kind of just going and burning through our random resources here, but supporter, hey, it's a Colress. I'll take it. A nice 7-card hand here. We did hit the double colorless, which is very, very nice. Do we have to worry about sniping? Does more damage for damage counters. Wait, was that choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon? Your opponent shuffles that and all cards attached to it. I don't think we have to worry about any snipes, so let's go ahead and play Battle Compressor. We're going to go ahead and compress probably teammates, so that way we can try and use teammates, but I guess get rid of a Flareon and an Eevee. So I don't think we really need them. Throw Combee down. We're going to go ahead and put the Life Dew on Vespiquen just to slow things down for them. Attach the double colorless here, and I think we're gonna actually intelligence gathering, and I think that's a good idea at the moment because with the life dew we don't have to worry about giving up a prize. So using this time to do so might be good. Plus they'd have to Guzma this out of the active. If they Guzma, they can't hit those Vespiquen. And or they have to hit Max Elixir, which they can't do to Altaria. They're in a weird situation right now, so they have to have an energy to retreat, and whatever they retreat into can't really do anything. So Beacon, I guess the Wishful Baton and the energy is a safe play on that, but they're gonna fail the Beacon, and we're gonna get some more stuff. So why don't we evolve into this? Of course, we'll throw a Muscle Band. Do we keep the Muscle Band? I think we keep the Muscle Band. But we could Lysander. We'll do 140 to Altaria, which might not be the worst idea. But then we won't be able to teammates, which I'm really hoping to do. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and be revenge here, get the knockout. I really hate the game pressuring me to make plays. Like, sorry, I don't have a deck that's just do this, do this. I have a deck that I'm like, what do I do here? You know, what Pokemon do I keep? What do I get rid of? Do I play this? Or do we keep this? Sorry, the game. I know you really like to pressure me. In case you don't know, I have had some very bad situations on TCGO where I've lost the game because the game, even though I've clicked things, has decided to do things for me. So we're going to see a Lance Prism actually grab an Altaria, just straight put it onto the bench. Latios is going to knock out our Vespiquen, but for nothing. And, you know, we took the prize lead, so I'm A-okay with it. And we are actually going to go ahead and via Seeker and grab teammates, so that way we can use it. And we're gonna go ahead and grab first off a double colorless energy because it's the most useful, but I think we're gonna grab probably Battle Compressor just to try and get some more damage going here. We have a lot of Pokemon in hand, but let's go ahead and just dump these two. I don't think we're going to need them. We'll dump the Unknown. It would be useful later, but I mean, let's just get rid of Unknown. Not really a big deal. We can go ahead and actually power up the Flareon, so that way we can keep the free retreat here. And we're actually going to try and get another Flareon into play. But do we do enough damage? That is 7, 9, 11, 12. That should be just enough damage to knock out this. I want to redo my math. 7, 9, 11, 12. Yes, so we don't really need the Muscle Band. So we're just going to go ahead and Vengeance for the exact knockout here, which is very nice. Grab our prize. It's Ditto! Maybe we can get Vespiquen into play now. Alright, so they're down a very, very powerful attacker. Not that it's super relevant in this matchup for obvious reasons. We're going to see another Rainbow Energy come down onto this Altaria, which I am perfectly fine by because, I mean, hey, you know, you're just making me hit these numbers easier. So let's go ahead and attach the Muscle Band here because it's going to be very important. We're going to attach the Muscle Band here as well. Let me do the numbers. We have 7, 10, 13, 14. 7, 10, 13, 14. Okay, so 14, 16, 18. That is a knockout. So let's go ahead and throw you down. We're going to go ahead and throw you down. I think I really want to Colress. Yes. No. We want to teammates, obviously. Duh. So we're going to grab teammates. Use it. I think what we grab here is... I would like to grab Curlia. I would really like to grab Curlia. but I really I really think that maybe just grabbing Vespiquen is the correct play. Just that way we can have another supporter for the next turn guaranteed. I know we have Substrika, but I'm just kind of like, so yeah. Let's go ahead and do another Vengeance instead of a Be Revenge for obvious reasons. And this should be exactly a knockout, and that's super awesome for us. So, taking this one by storm, and we got a Blitzel. Not going to be super relevant, I don't think, but I think we have game with Vespiquen teammates. They could go ahead and feed us a 1 prize Pokemon, but they already put Mimikyu into the active spot, so I'm not entirely sure what we're going to see here, unless they're going to perplex us, which is going to confuse us, I guess. But I can just retreat. I don't know. Yep, we're going to see perplex. And there's Curlia, so let's go ahead and evolve into that. And this is where Guzma would be nice, I suppose. But we can go ahead and evolve into Zebstrika, no problem. Gonna go ahead and do this for Colress and Juice Colress, hopefully avoiding drawing into some of these guys again. There's our double colorless, that's game. So we can just go ahead, retreat him, go into Vespiquen, and just attack for the knockout. So, as you can see, as far as a very good, strong, competitive deck, Flareon and Vespiquen together are super, super powerful, super strong, super good. For a beginner, I think this is a fantastic deck to go with. For additional money, you can add on to this deck, probably make it a lot better. I don't know, maybe just playing Life Dew in the deck is good enough. I do, however, just think that with computer search, you have more options. You can discard Pokemon while searching for the double colorless or a supporter or anything along those lines, which sometimes it's better than having, you know, not giving up a prize. I think there's other things you can do with this deck. A thing I really like is the new Shedinja card. You evolve into it, and then you can discard all the cards attached to it and then attach it as a tool card, and then it's essentially Life Dew. I think that's super good because not only do you get an Ankata into the discard pile, but you get some other stuff. And yeah, so very key card to the deck. Ditto allows us to evolve into some of the other pieces while not giving it up as a prize, or trying not to. And then of course we have Life Dew kind of really putting in some extra work for us. And again, we missed out on some numbers sometimes, but sometimes we hit the numbers under weird circumstances like Rainbow Energies. But Muscle Band did do the job. But upgrade these to Choice Bands 100%. And I guess maybe swap out one of these for a Guzma. And I think you have a pretty solid competitive deck. And Execute would go pretty well in this deck as well, because you can always go ahead and Battle Compress that right away and then just reuse that with Ultra Ball. It makes things life a lot easier, and then you can just keep doing it and doing it. But yeah, this is a great deck because of the lack of EX and GX Pokemon. It's going to put just a terrible situation on your opponent just with that alone, especially with Life Dew. It turns into a 7 prize game if they don't have anything to remove Life Dew. Anything else that I may be forgetting? There is no Stadium in this deck. So maybe getting a Stadium is ideal. I don't know what you'd necessarily remove for this Stadium. Maybe a copy of the Battle Compressor. Stadium is nice for knocking your opponent's stadiums, because sometimes they might have some really annoying stadiums. So maybe even putting in, I know it sounds weird, but maybe putting in 2 copies of Shrine of Punishment could be pretty good, just to counter stadiums, do some damage to your opponent's EX and GX. You probably drop Flareon and Eevee down by 1 each if you want to do something like that. You might compromise your damage, but I guess you can add it with Choice Band, Muscle Band, and Shrine of Punishment. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was insightful for new players and everything. This is what the series is going to be for. So if you enjoy it, stick around for more. You can leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you all next time.